Return to Glory podcast. I'm outside today. Got to keep my voice down so I don't wake the neighbors. But Hunter Zarbernicki, Austin Rose, Dakota Free Tag. Monday morning, I guess, is when this is getting released, but we're recording Sunday night. We've had a couple of days to soak in everything. Austin was at the game. Normally it's flipped where Dak and I are at the game or at the location. Austin was there. We were not. And Huskers lose in overtime to Illinois to send us 3-1, bumping us out of the rankings as we expected. We're here. We're here. There's been a roller coaster of emotions and thoughts. I'm telling you guys, I have 15, 20 bullets. Probably not going to get to all of them. We'll probably just jump around today, which is okay. But yeah, just a lot of emotions and thoughts over the last 48 hours. Dak, get your initial thoughts out of the way, and get your initial condolences out on OU, because that was a disaster too.
Okay, we'll talk about OU right away. I am not completely pissed about how Oklahoma played. I thought they looked good. Their offense looked absolutely awful. Their defense, I was happy with. I wasn't like pumped about how we played, but I'm happy with how he played. We hung with them.
Did you go back and watch the game? Because you didn't make it through half
Yes.
the quarter. Okay. You didn't watch any of the end when they actually played a little bit better, but
I think we have a different quarterback now. That true freshman, he's gonna be our starter. Jackson Arnold in the tank.
You didn't watch him play at all live last night. That's all I got to say.
No, I didn't.
On it Austin, how you feeling tonight?
I feel better tonight than I did Friday night and Saturday morning. That was one of those losses that when you wake up in the morning, you're still like, God damn it, that sucked. I don't know. So this is my first game I went to this year. I ended up getting free tickets, parking pass, lot 19. It was a nice little setup. I don't know, but the whole game, it felt, not the whole game, but like when it was 17-17 going into basically the fourth quarter, we scored right at the end of the fourth. It just felt like the crowd, it just felt like we were down 20 is what it felt like. I mean, everyone was just absolutely just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's how I mean, obviously we've won all of our home games pretty largely, but it was just like, it was kind of tough to get, like, the crowd was not getting up for like the defensive stands until basically the ball was about to be snapped by the time it started to get loud. Like,
that's fascinating because of what I said from going to the K-State game previous Friday, how the environment just didn't seem like other games I've been to for two ranked teams down there even. And I think the Friday night impacts that. I think the alcohol impacts it. There's not as much alcohol drinking. There apparently was some tailgating, right, Dak?
Yep.
But it wasn't like normal.
The scene was dead.
Yes. I mean, it's Friday. It's work day. That's interesting you say that. In Austin, the game, from watching it on a TV, and just for background, I was at my sister's wedding, so we had a couple of TVs like at the venue, and there were obviously a lot of people watching it during the reception ceremony. The game just felt like that. Like it was, you never felt like we were, even when we were ahead at halftime, I never felt good about it at all. And so it's funny that's the same environment at the stadium.
Yes, because like I was trying to tell people, because I was with three other guys, and I was like, they're a top 25 team. It's tied 24-24. We have the ball with 4 minutes left in this game. Like, I don't understand why we feel like, I mean, I understand, but it's like everyone stayed. I mean, the stadium was packed the whole game. Okay, so here's how the end of the game went. You all know how the overtime went. It was, I mean, they scored, stadium just dead silent, totally packed. There is not anyone saying anything. We get the penalty, go back 10 yards. There's some people yelling at the refs. I forgot how much of fans are. I didn't realize there were so many referees in the stands, because I mean, it was just all night. It was just.
Oh yeah,
There was
that.
a lot of reffing in the stands. But I
I'm
mean,
sure.
on that overtime, it was just dead silent the whole time. And when we got that sack, no one spoke a word. We all just shuffled out, dead silent, 90,000 of us. I then sat in a parking lot for an hour and a half waiting to get out. Got home at like 2 a.m. It was just a really sad night, and everyone was just crushed. And it felt that way basically from honestly the whole game. It felt that way, even when because they scored first, right? And then we
Right
tied it
away
up.
from the get-go. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It
It
was
just
like
felt the
first
whole
play,
game.
second play.
It felt the whole game like we were getting obliterated, even though we had the lead most of the game.
So let's start out with a positive there, because maybe that's a decent sign that while it felt like we were getting killed, maybe we obviously were ahead at halftime, like still had the chances to win the game, but once again didn't do it. That's happened,
A
as we
lot.
know, a lot. Okay, so here's where my head's now at. I'm very upset with myself for what I said on Wednesday and taking that strong take. What was the three things? It was winning a big game, turnover battle. Guess what? We won the turnover battle again, 2-1. Big game. It was a big game, didn't win, but the one score games was a third thing that I convinced myself before seeing it and getting the proof that we could do it. It didn't happen. And Austin, you text us, chasing three, still chasing three. That's the name of the documentary that's out there. There's a reason why that's the name. We're still doing that. And I am hitting myself and beating myself up because I did get my mind to that point. I didn't think that would happen. I'm not the most optimistic fan, but my mind was like, no, this is it. This is the guy. Rule's the guy. Raiola's the guy. We have the team. And
Everyone was saying that though. I mean, that's
well,
not just you,
okay.
like
No,
national
I
media.
know, but I'm usually the last one to jump on that.
Yeah.
Like I joined with everybody into that and thinking that could have a 9-2, 10-2. And now my mind is completely reset back to let's make a bowl game again. And now Rutgers scares me.
Yep.
Rutgers scares me now. Going on the road to Indiana really scares me. Now, Purdue, we'll talk about them on Wednesday, and UCLA. But my mind is just it's been a roller coaster, and I'm mad at myself more than anything, more than the game. But you're right. Like I had the feeling Saturday night, and then that next morning, even though had a wedding and had fun, enjoyed it, and it just ate at you. And then when you add a
It was
hangover,
one of those losses where you wake up in the morning and you're like, you could just still feel it. Like it's just like, oh my gosh, I
you,
can't believe.
you add the post wedding hangover to that too. Had to get going again on Saturday, get myself doing something. It hurt, and a lot of the close losses last year like didn't hurt like this because
There was no
even though we had a new
expectation.
coach, I wasn't buying into it. I was just like, nope, like we don't win close games. And guess what? We still didn't. And now Rule's 1-6 in one score games, which is as the same, might even be worse than Scott Frost as a percentage. Like we're still here. I am gonna shout out I'm gonna find on my phone. There's a really good graphic, and I will end up posting it on Twitter when I post the podcast. It's Stu Manji. At Stu Manji is the guy that has it. I shared it with you guys. It goes through our last 33 drives, which goes back to 2018, of our final offensive possessions when tied or losing by 8 points or less. So one score games. Guys, we've had 10 different quarterbacks, and he put all the different stats in there. 10 quarterbacks, 4 offensive coordinators, 11 turnovers, 2.5 staffs. We've got one win. We've scored on 3 of them. It is, God, it's fascinating. Like I'm not going to say I'm surprised because we've known this. Like this is just the numbers behind it. But man, and we
You
found
feel
it.
like you
We
have
won the
to
turnover
return,
battle this time too. Like
right?
it's just it.
At
Oh
some point, you return to the average, right? Statistically, you'll
yeah,
return to the mean, and we just have not turned to the
Now,
mean.
now, respect where it's due. Illinois looked a lot better than I thought they were.
Luke Altmaier was.
He looked great.
okay.
I,
You guys talk about this because I have an opinion on this. Just talk about Illinois for a little bit, so then I can get my stuff out and go on my
Oh,
second.
he might have made the biggest jump out of any quarterback in college football. He was awful, and
Like,
he looked great last game.
yeah, I'm not saying our defense looked incredible, but he made all the right plays. I mean, he was outside of. I mean, he fumbled the ball that one time when he got absolutely drilled in the back. He made all the right plays, and part of that's because our defense gave him options to make right plays at times. But like athletically, when he got out of the pocket, he looked good. He looked good when he moved in the pocket. I was very impressed.
Anything else positive to say on Illinois?
Yeah, I'm good.
Just well coached team. They looked better than I thought.
Yeah, I mean that's I
And
was
they
gonna
could be
add
better than what we thought.
Yeah,
We know they're already better than what we thought before going into the year.
Bielema.
I think they're pretty good.
Bielema has always done a great job with his teams. We talked about him in the pre-week
Pre-game
pod.
pod.
I will give them credit where credit is due. At the same time, I am sick of hearing after losses, well, maybe this team's pretty good. Maybe this team's a rank, maybe this team is better than we've heard it for like, I'm not saying it's wrong and I'm not saying you guys are wrong, but it just feels like at this point it's what people are trying, how people are trying to justify it. And I'm just sick of like, no, just find a way to win the damn game. Like, yeah, maybe that team is okay, but like, I've heard so many podcasts already talk about that and saying, well, Illinois is better, the best team they've been in 5 or 6 years. I'm like, you don't know that.
I don't know if I
Nobody
go that
knows
far.
that. We don't know that. Like, yeah, they played well, like, but they beat us, and we don't, like, again, go back to Colorado. Maybe Colorado's not. We don't know that. We don't. Who was the team we lost to or played close the other couple of years ago? Louisiana Tech. There was the
South
Georgia
Alabama.
Southern. Maybe Georgia Southern. No, maybe they're really good. Guys, go back and look at their records when we get to the end of the year. And a lot of these teams, they don't end up doing that. I'm not saying Illinois won't. Maybe they are. They could. I hope that they are. But maybe Kansas is not very good. Maybe they're bad. Like it's so hard for me to like hear that. And I'm not saying it's an excuse, but people are kind of using that as, well, maybe Illinois is really good. Why it makes me mad, because my mind got me to saying Illinois, we are in that same tier with them in the Big Ten, and I wanted to beat a team like that in the Big Ten. I did not ever think we were Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, maybe USC. You throw them in there, Ohio State. I didn't think we were there, but I kind of got myself, and the media did too. I got us to think maybe we are in that 6 to 8, 6 to 9, and 10 range, and that includes Illinois. And I wanted to beat a team like that. But now, what do you hear? Oh, Illinois is probably a 6 or 7. They're probably maybe the 6 or 7 best team in the Big Ten. I'm like, damn it, that's where I want to be though. Like, I want to be that team. I thought we were that team, but we're not because we didn't beat them. So maybe we're still
outside of Luke Altmaier though. Outside of Luke Altmaier looking good, it didn't feel like they were better than us. It felt like we lost that game. Is what
maybe
it was
like.
It felt like it was dead ass even. Like,
yeah, and so maybe
maybe
that's the positive frame of mind of looking at it. I just was thinking that maybe we are there. Like, maybe we're back to Purdue and UCLA. You guys are dog shit, and we can roll you because we're not bad anymore. And then we're in that next tier with some of these middle of the pack teams, including Iowa, Wisconsin. But now I'm like, nope, Iowa and Wisconsin are better than us. Like, we're the bottom of that next tier of teams where that's the frustrating part where that comes from in that comment that people are justifying it that way. I get it. I get that's a natural way of thinking. The odds, it's frustrating because I had my mind at maybe we could be 5 or 6 or 7 now in the Big Ten, and we're not. So that was it's been a big thought of mine as I hear people talk about the game afterwards in the past couple of days of Illinois looked pretty good. And I'm like, yeah, they did. I mean, they had some pieces, they had some good receivers, a solid running back. They did, but like, God, can we beat a team like that? Can we win? Can we not make the plays that we need to make? Like, I could tell rules. Like, it's Frost. It got to that point with everybody. It's like, oh, why does this keep happening? And my dad texted me. He said, I still think we're fine. That we can't keep losing games like this. It eventually will flip. And I'm like, we have said that the past 3 years. We have.
Yeah.
And statistically, you'd think it would change, but like, I don't know. I don't know anymore. Like that's where the emotions come. I don't want to believe it. I'm not saying I believe that it's over. All hope is lost. I'm not saying that, but that's the frustration of everything. And I don't know what people's minds are. Should we be sad? Should we be panicking for Rule and staff? I don't think that's the case.
No.
Should we just fold all of our cards? Are we at the point though where everybody's making excuses? I don't hear a lot of them. Like, I think people know we lost the game again, and here's why. And you can list the reasons. Do we just pout and just say, "Oh, stupid Husker football sucks"? I don't know how people should react. I guess that's up to the individual on how to respond to a game like this. But like, I think the best response is if people want to go watch it, go watch Will Compton. I believe it was, I think yesterday morning he woke up and talked about Sunrose and um, basically explained that we could go pout and sulk, and he's kind of messaging to the players, but no, like, this is now, like, use this as an opportunity. The season is early, it's young. Go grind, learn from what you did wrong, be hard on yourself, get up, work even harder the next day, like basically trying to coach them that way. I still believe that's what the staff is doing too. I think they're going to have a bitch week of practice. And I believe that Purdue is a great game to have to go back and prove yourself and where you're actually at. Because guys, we're going to be defeated. Our players will be defeated after that, because you do have a sense of confidence and we're moving. And then you take it, you think you can beat a team like Illinois, and then they get you in a game that just felt like you said, had a bad taste in your mouth the whole time. They just did everything a little bit better than us, a little bit better. It wasn't like they blew us out of the water and dominated us at the line of scrimmage. They did beat us at the line of scrimmage. I will say that, but it was just a little bit better. Their quarterback, now we'll talk about Raiola, made just enough throws. He threw a couple of picks, made just enough throws. They got just enough stops when they needed to, and that's what led to the winning. So, like, that's my last thing I'll say here is that winning never comes down to 1 to 2 to 3 plays. You can say that all you want. It comes down to a billion little things throughout the course of a game. And unfortunately, when all those things stack up and add up, that's how the outcome matters. And the late game situation stuff, you can go through and chart those, and that's great. But there are a lot of things that led up to that if you do it differently, you win that game. You overlook that when you come off 3 wins and you win. You stop nitpicking. Just if we would have won in overtime on Friday, we would not be sitting here nitpicking a lot of little things about the game. But since we lost, that's what we do. So that's what separates a good from a great coaching staff and a program, is to be able to identify that and learn from it and build on it without losing. Now, we didn't do that. I still have faith in Rule. I still think it's not over, and I don't think anybody's going there at all. But I think there's a little sense of that in me right now, as we move on to Purdue this week.
Yeah, and I'm not making excuses, but I was surprised at how impacted by injuries we were. And like Alvano's injury, our special teams, holy smokes!
Your backup kicker sucks.
I mean, I mean, you missed the field goal, but then even on the kickoffs, it was like, I mean, because Buccini was doing the kickoffs, and it was like, oh man, they were returning. I don't know if it was where the ball was being placed or what or timing, but all the special teams was not good. And the missed field goal, what a killer!
I hate saying this. People call him a backup kicker. He's not a backup kicker because he's still listed as an or. I get it. He's not the one that normally kicks field goals. But neither one of I don't trust Albano making that either, like, at all.
I honestly, if Rule had gone for it on 4th and 3, I would have felt like I totally understand the field goal. But
did that cross your mind at all in the moment?
Yes, it did.
It was weird. It didn't for me. Now, yeah, it was just there was other influences there, but it didn't even cross my mind. I just thought kick it. Like, and I knew we had a backup kicker. And then as we're getting lined up, I'm like, he's not making this. I guess he's not going to go in.
That's what happened. Like, I mean, honestly, I was like, no, you have to kick it here. But like, when it was 3rd and 3, I was like, honestly, I think I'd run the ball here and go for 4. But when we passed it and didn't get the, missed the tight end.
We had him. He had it. I mean, Raiola played when we missed that pass, I was like, okay, like
I get it. You got
And
to
he
kick it.
knew it. He sat there for so long, like knew, like, oh, he was so open. And Rule talked about that play too. That's not even like a read of the play. Like Raiola just has the vision to identify that. Oh my gosh. I guys, it's the field goal thing is it's ridiculous at this point, and we've talked about it at lengths for a few years now. Sucks. Like I do. I'm like, because if you go for it on 4th and 3, you don't get it. Then you go, oh my God, we're a Big Ten program that is trying to be, a top half of the Big Ten team, and we can't even kick a 39-yarder and make it. But we can't. Like
It wasn't even close though. That's the thing. It was a duck
no,
hook.
and the
It
laces
was
were turned
terrible.
wrong. Heard that. Like it's obviously not all on the kicker at times. Sometimes it is. God damn it! Like
Yeah.
how is that not even? It's another one of those things that's just puzzling. Like you would think at some point it's gonna flip. Like we can't find any kicker to go do
Right.
that. Like
There's only so many starting kicker spots in the country. Like, and there's every high school football team has a kicker. Like, come on. We
oh
get
my gosh, like that it's so puzzling to me. And I mean, the kicking game was a big special teams thing. There's a lot of other little things, but like I heard someone made the comment, maybe it's an Ed Foley problem. Like, well, maybe like we've talked about all the coaches and the changes that we need to do there. I don't know. Like what do you do coaching that position? Like it just leaves you speechless.
Well, we felt we were a little bit improved so far this year on special teams. I mean, we've talked about it. We're like, I feel like the return game's been better. The punts have seemed better. Just this game, you could see the absence of Alvano, honestly. Not that he would have hit that 38
See, I
yarder,
don't know. Maybe. I mean, maybe.
but it was the kickoffs, even the kickoffs, it's like the first couple, it's like he was getting it to like the 10-yard line, and they were returning it for 20. It's like, okay, guys, like, why can't we just kick it through? And why are we not able to tackle on special teams all of a sudden? And the other injury that, I mean, Corcoran, Gotcha is getting just obliterated at the end of the game.
So yeah, thanks
I
for bringing that up. Because yeah, Tommy Hill goes down. Now Tommy Hill gives up the first touchdown, gets burned, but then goes down. It actually does. I think it's plantar fasciitis is what we've heard. Like that's not going to be a
That's not a
That's not
quick
going
recovery.
away.
no. And I get
That stays with you.
that sucks. And then Corcoran goes down. I haven't heard. You guys heard
I haven't heard.
details? I haven't either. Gunnar Gatula comes in. We've talked about our offensive line. Micah Mazuka throughout the week. Maybe we'll play, maybe won't. Personal issues. We don't know. Maybe argument with the coach. Don't know what's going on. Doesn't end up playing. All of a sudden, our offensive line looks
Bad.
thin, very thin. The injuries, Tommy Hill injury, I actually thought his backup came in, for blanking on his name right now, but actually came in and did a solid job. We'll talk about our defense here in a second. But offensive line, like right now, guys, there's deer in the headlights right now going on for me. And we kind of started brushing off and maybe felt okay about our offensive line again. And then now a couple injuries happen, and you start looking at depth, and you start looking at the type of players that you want on the offensive line, and then the impact it has in all parts of your game. We just get reminded of it again. Just got to keep that on the forefront of how important an offensive line is for passing the ball, pass protection, obviously running the run game. It's the core, and I thought we got beat there. Very handled both sides, but offensive line, we just couldn't get a run game going. Rushing yards, I don't know, it was in the 70s.
Dowdell at 72.
Sacks.
The worst part by your offensive line. The worst part by your offensive line is it went to shit when you need it most, overtime and towards the end of the game.
Quarter. Yep.
And like overtime, Raiola got pressured, and I don't think, I mean, whatever the reason was, tired, fatigue, physicality just wore on us. He did. He ran backwards and looked like Dak playing NCAA 25. Like when he gets pressured, just starts running backwards and either gets sacked or tries to throw it away or got intentional grounding, like combination offensive line, quarterback, whatever there. But if you can't establish a run game and get complementary football going, that word comes back and back as Rules used it. That's what it looks like. And I don't know. Like we've talked about, what is our identity, our theme. What are we trying to do on offense this year? Last year we knew. I mean, it was very one-dimensional because our quarterbacks were very limited. Like, where are we going moving forward with this offense? Like, I don't know. And maybe we don't have to know right now. That's where my head's at. I don't know that it's needed yet, but by the time we hit 3 or 4 weeks from now, coming off that bye week, I think we need to know what our identity is. How much of the run game is, how important is that to winning football games? I think it's I think it's at most high importance. But the challenge with that is who we got at quarterback. And I guess any more talk on the offensive line, because I'm switching gears.
No, just that they were getting beat, and Corcoran was much more. I mean, we knew it was going to be thin, but I mean, it was very obvious that he was not out there.
I
Go ahead.
I think I mean it's pretty obvious, but the main reason why you guys lost is because of the two lines. I don't think your D line played that great either.
No, I agree. I want to stick on offense here, then we can go jump on defense because I think there's a talking point there too. Guys, can we talk about Raiola for a second? This guy is, as we knew, but like, he is legit.
He's really good.
I mean, that's where I struggle. Like, yes, I really do. I believe it that you need to have a run game first before you start going the extra step. But he has the potential of being a lot better than a field general that we initially kind of thought that we needed him to be. I mean,
his touchdown and the interception. I mean, obviously a fluke play, but the ball placement on the interception and on the actual touchdown where Jamal Banks drags his toe, like, wow.
And both interceptions that's happened. I mean, another again fluke thing, unlucky, snake bitten, whatever you want to call it. I mean, you got to find a way to secure that. That's not on obviously the quarterback. There's interceptions that you can watch, and clearly it's a bad throw, a bad read. Those were not. And yeah, you mentioned a couple of them, but just watching that second half, especially, how many balls did he just drop dimes in places? I mean, awkward. We talk about his hip and torque and awkward positions that he throws. I mean, good God, guys, it's impressive. And I say that all as that's what puzzles me with our offense. I think Satterfield's doing a pretty damn good job right now of trying to put the pieces together and figure out where we're at. We need to have that set in stone though here in 2 or 3 weeks.
I mean,
sometimes you just go to your ball or you go to your player and say, nope, this is where we're going. And that may be the direction we're heading. I don't know how I feel about that, but he's legit and he's good. And we've seen a couple mistakes, but like,
so he had a couple freshman moments there, the fourth quarter and over when he fumbled it twice in a row.
Mm-hmm.
We recovered him, but it's like, okay.
There's some, and there's going to be some, but the amount of unbelievable type of throws that he was making, yes. Oh man, we have something special. Now, the one thing that I don't like is his lack of ability to maybe run, that I thought maybe he had a little bit more in him. And maybe Illinois did scheme up a good plan.
Well, I think he doesn't want to run.
Like, I don't think he does. I mean, it's like laugh like Mahomes. Like, Mahomes doesn't want to run either, but when needed, he can escape and run for 12 yards.
Yeah. I think he needs to be a little more loose with like, okay, I'm just gonna run and see how far I get. But I understand. I don't want him to get hurt, so I'm fine with it. I'd rather him, make it back to the line of scrimmage and get sacked than run and get hurt for 4 yards.
The main thing is when he goes back to pass, you're not like the last couple of years where you're like, oh, this can end terribly.
Right.
You have
when
confidence.
It's about to end terribly, he's usually able to get it out of bounds or grounded or something.
Yeah.
We'll say too, shout out this evening. Maybe you guys haven't even seen it because it was last couple of hours. Dayton Raiola did commit today.
I did see that. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's good. It keeps it on. I haven't watched him as much, and I think he's a 3-star, right? I don't think he's
not Dylan.
But at the same time, it is cool that gives me a little bit of confirmation of maybe where the family's at on Nebraska. Because here's my initial, before this all happened, my thought around Dylan. I get scared. I've talked about this. I don't know where Braiola's mind will be at the end of the year, pending how the year goes. This game, he played pretty damn well, and he's going to beat himself up about the one throw. But if we end up going 7-5 and lose 1-score games, and he plays well in all of them, where do you think his head's going to be at? Like, yeah, as a good teammate, but at the same time, when you're getting paid that much money, if he's not the problem, and there's other areas that are the problem, and if he doesn't have confidence, through the coaching staff and what he's getting told, if he doesn't have the confidence that those can get fixed, he has the talent and ability to go easily transfer and start at a big school. Like he's proving that and showing that. I'm putting that out as a feeler right now. I don't think that's going to happen, especially with Dayton committing now. That eases me a lot, but we have to appreciate what we have with him. We do. We have to appreciate it because he is special. And if other things don't piece together around him, he's been the one constant we've had this year that has been solid. We thought our defense maybe was that. Let's switch to talk about them here for a little bit. We got exposed and outcoached. We thought Tony White, we talked about how I've said he's gone after this year because someone else is grabbing him and we won't be able to afford keeping him here. This was light bulb number one or exclamation point number one that went off of, okay, how are we going to, what are we going to do moving forward? Because we got out schemed and coached. My big take on the defense, and Dak, you talked about it with the defensive line. I'll let you go here in a second. I think we were confident that those guys were better than they were. And we trusted those guys to get pressure on passing downs and to clog up the run game and not get moved. So our linebackers could make tackles in our base defense. And we did not get too exotic and creative. That was a concern going in, is how creative we were going to be. We felt good about how good they were, and we got exposed. And over the course of a game against a very physical team, not so much ground and pound, still spread running, they beat our defensive line or our front seven, and the run game complemented the pass game, and it resulted in Illinois beating us. That's the bottom line, I think, of what happened. And there's a lot of little other things, but Dak, what else did you see on the defensive side?
Like you said, you just got out coached, I thought. I don't know if you guys were blitzing that much or what, but I just feel like you could not get any pressure. Allmeyer had all day to pick you apart. And I guess he's good enough now that you can't let him have time to do that. Man,
that middle of the field was just killer.
Open.
Yes.
I wouldn't say your defense played awful, but you definitely expect it to be better.
Yes, I agree. They did force the fumble when it's like, we need a turnover now. This, you guys have not that they haven't held up their end of the deal, but it's like, all right, we need a turnover now, and then they immediately got one. So I mean, they did win the turnover battle, but they did get beat.
We didn't get demolished, but again, right. It was that much better. That's all it took. And like you said, that was the whole feeling, like going big picture back to the beginning. That was the whole feeling of just unease the entire game from that first drive when they go down and score methodically.
Oh, yeah, it's like, oh shit, we might not be able to stop this.
It was, and I don't even know that my mind went to not being able to stop it. It was like, like they just slowly put together a drive, and then my mind like, okay, that's just the first drive because they had it, planned. They had their script for the first drive. I'm like, that's what that was. Like, that's okay. But I was like, what? And then the rest of the game, even though they didn't score because our defense did kind of then come through a couple of times, they just seemed to, 4 yards here, 7 yards here. Oh, there's the quick 7-yard out. Oh, 7-yard out again. Oh, play action, flat. Like it was just slow and methodical. And over time, Brett Bielema's type teams, the old Wisconsin teams, and the similar type of concept we see from a lot of Big Ten teams, it wears on you if you're not used to playing it. And who have we played so far this year? 2 teams that couldn't run the ball at all and spread it out, and then a team that couldn't throw the ball at all, that just could run it. And now we faced a team that was pretty good at both. Not phenomenal. They just were okay, and we weren't ready for it. Now, it wasn't Scott Frost level where we prepared for the wrong front and identified the wrong front. It wasn't like that. Like just a little bit more, and that's what got them to win. And again, credit to Illinois. Like I think that is a solid football team, but I don't want to say Illinois is going to go 9-3 and they're not. They're just in that next tier with us, and god damn it, I thought we could beat them.
Yeah, it just was. We cannot get the stops. We need to get the stops outside of getting the turnover. We needed the turnover, but we were in position to win the game, and we didn't. Offense and defense. Like that last drive before punting and going to overtime, we needed a turnover from defense. They got it. We need the offense to move down the field, put us in position for take the lead. Did that. We missed the fucking field goal.
Now, what were the refs in the stands saying about that
The
missed call at
interception.
the end of the game?
Oh, the missed call. Oh yeah,
The late hit, people wanted
yep,
flags
they were
for it.
going nuts.
What did you guys think that should have been flagged?
Probably, but not being flagged, it's fine. Like it wasn't egregious. It was definitely late.
It
He was out of
it,
bounds.
it definitely could have, but you know where our minds going. I'm like, I don't think we looked like a dead duck out there. Like if we would have got the first down, okay, great. Now it's basically it would have been like restarting overtime because we would have had the ball about the 22-yard line, first and 10.
Yeah.
Like still having to score a touchdown. Guys, our overtime performances is just, oh my god. It like my mind went to that when we got to overtime because our defense got to stop at the end of regulation. I'm like, okay, good. Like we've been so bad in overtime. Like we're gonna win one in overtime because we have done nothing in overtime the past year, however many years. So we're gonna get one. Like it can't happen again, right? And then what do you know? 23-yard run, touchdown. I'm like, oh god, here we go. And then sack.
It was so
You gotta
bad.
be kidding me. Like it was almost like after that big run, we're like, nope, never mind. Like we're not winning. Like it's not happening. And everybody just knew it, and the players knew it, and here we go, and over. And that is the winning mindset that this coaching staff is tasked with flipping. I mean, that's their bottom line. Disregard everything else we said tonight. That is the number one thing is the coaching staff has to figure out how to get the winning culture back in Nebraska so we win games like this. And Rule said we're a winning team. We said maybe that was pre-jumping the gun a little bit. Might have been. So we have that. They have to figure that out to win games. And we're going to have an opportunity Saturday and the next 4 Saturdays to do that against teams that are in our tier or below us. And we have to find a way to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, those I don't know. So after you said Illinois scored too, yeah, it just seemed like the team just like, well, this is game over.
Yeah.
Your offensive possession was quick and done. It was like, well,
Yep.
get on out of here.
I'm out of thoughts, out of time for now. It's late. Any last words? Shout out Lady Huskers. I'll do my shout out for them tonight.
Shout out Lady Huskers. Shout out Fred Hoiberg, who I stood behind waiting to get into the stadium. Taller than I expected.
Go Fred. Go Big Fred. All right. Go Big Red. We'll see you Wednesday.
Give you our
Boomer Sooner.